Hey, welcome back to AdventureWorld and Godot. In this video, we're going to get started on the Boomstick. That's right, we're finally going to get working on a projectile weapon. So, let's go ahead and move our player up here so we can do some easy testing. We're going to place the pickup right here. In this video, we're mostly going to focus on the pickup and the applying it to the player's inventory. That way we can keep it nice and short, and then next episode we'll get into actually firing it. So this is all pretty self-explanatory and stuff we've done before, but I'm going to go in here to the art items and I'm going to drag these two guys in. Now for this one I took this purple ray gun from the Kenny's assets and I extended the barrel a little bit and then changed the purple into a brown, and then this is just the stone cave. So drag those two in there. So now I should have those available to me. So to do the pickup, let's make a new scene, and as you can guess, it's probably guess, area 2D. We'll call this the Boomstick pickup, and it will require a collision shape. There we go. And before we do that, let's add a sprite so we can see how big this thing's going to be. Purple ray gun. Put that in there. And then we'll zoom back in on it. And I can go ahead and save this. And I'm going to save it under objects. Make sure the name's right. Hit save. Now I'm going to put it into the level so that we can kind of see what it's going to look like. I've got some organization nodes here for other stuff. So let's add one for the tower. So I'm just going to add a node 2D and we'll call this the Boomstick tower. And I'm going to lock that so I don't move it on accident. And then underneath that, let's add this object we just made. So there's the Boomstick pickup. Let's put it there. That is really tiny. We want it to be a little bit bigger. I could scale it here, but I'll go back and be good and scale it here. So, and so this will scale it for any instances that I placed in. So if I put another instance in somewhere, it would scale it as well. Let's go for 2.2. That might be too big. Oh, nope, looks perfect. So there we go. There's the Boomstick pickup. Now we need to add some code. Oh, I need to fix the shape first. Rectangle. Yeah, so this rectangle is not on center at all. So instead of, the rectangle's on center, but the image is not. So to fix that, let's just scoot the image over. And then we will scale this up a little bit. There we go. Right. So yeah, it's best to move, well, this is the center of this object, and so you just want to make sure that it's as centered around that as possible. Not a big deal in this case, really, so, but just be aware of that. That's the pivot point. So I'll need to move that a little bit. Alright, now, script. Got sidetracked there. So I'll make it a built-in, and we'll delete all this. And the main thing here is that we have this signal, body entered, that gets attached to that script. Target method not found. What did I do? Body entered. It's not detecting the script there. I probably didn't save it. Oh, nope, here's my problem. I put it on the collision shape. That was not correct. You want to make sure you select the right node. There we go. Delete all that. Much better. Alright, so now go up here, body entered. On there. Name's correct, good. So here, I could type this out, but we've done this before, so let's just let's just snag it from another object. So if I go to my objects, pretty much any pickup that we've already done will have this in here. So just grab that and we'll paste it right there. So it's checking for if it's the player that's entered, and then we add to the player an item. We're going to add a boomstick, and then it deletes this object, which is the pickup. Alright, I think we're done with this one. So now the next thing I need to do is go to my player. So on the player, we need to do a few things. The first thing we can do is add the visual effect. So down here, we could go ahead and add a new node 2D. That way we can organize these, and we'll call this the boomstick. And then under that, we're going to add a sprite. And also, well, let's just fill that in first. So let's go to my art, objects, or items. Items, purple ray gun, boom, there we go. And this is too small. This would be a good handgun maybe. But we want a boomstick, so it needs to be bigger. So let's go to the transform scale and boost that up. This may be too big. A little too big, I think. Looks really cool though. I have to admit, it does look cool. Let's take it down a little bit. Let's go to 1.8. Yeah, we could leave it there, or we could go to 1.7. Let's see what 1.7 looks like. Yeah, okay. 1.7's not too bad. That way we can put it in his hand, but it still goes out past the player a little bit. So we'll save that. So this is the boomstick sprite. Probably don't need to name it because we can just hide and show this entire section. So the next thing I need to do is I want to have a position where the projectile will come out. So it's very much like what we did with the pick here. We're going to add a position 2D. So I'm going to add child. I'm going to do position 2D. And the reason we use these is because it has this little indicator so we can see it. And the really great thing is we can add a rotation to it. So if I wanted it to fire up that way, we could do that. Or I could do it this way and it'll fire down. For now we're going to fire pretty much straight. But let's save that. And then, let's see. So we've got to do a few more things here. So we've got this visual. Now we need to also adjust the HUD. So let's go ahead and add this. So this is pretty easy. We've done this quite a bit now. We're going to duplicate with Control D, rename it to Boomstick, and then we need to change the texture there. Alright, and it's tiny, so let's scale it up. With the scale, we'll go to 1.5, 1.5. Looks pretty good. Let's go to 1.7, 1.7. Looks even better. And then we also need to adjust that script. So I'll just copy. Need to do both of these lines, this one and this one. And don't forget to change the text to boomstick. And boomstick. And boomstick. Alright. So there we go. That's all done. So now our pickup should work. But we want to, yeah. So that should work. Oh, nope, one more thing. We need to hide this by default. So I'm showing it, sorry for all the ums. We're showing it here so we can visually position it. But let's hide it by default. So let's go boomstick.hide. Alright? And so now when I start the game, I won't have the boomstick in my hand, but if we touch it, we'll pick it up. Oh, we forgot to show it. Well, we do have the pickup up here in our inventory. So let's go ahead and add the show. Well, let's do this the same way as we do with the jetpack. So we have the jetpack has inventory. Let's go ahead and add that. We're going to need that maybe in our next episode. We're going to need that for this as well. And then also, that's good. And so down here on our add item, so this is when we give the player an item. Let's go ahead and do if item to add equals boomstick, then has boomstick equals true, and also boomstick.show. Alright. So now when I pick it up, I should be able to see it on my player. Awesome. Now, the only problem we have now is when I turn this way, it's not turning with me. So let's go ahead and adjust that. So we go to our 2D scene. And thankfully, we scaled up our sprite here, but we didn't touch this thing. So I think what I can do is just invert my scale on this, and hopefully this all will go with it just fine. So let's give it a shot. So I'm going to go back into my script, and down here, yep, right here, we can do it right here after the pickaxe. So if has boomstick, thankfully we just added that variable, so we're good there. Then what I want to do is, no, I don't need this yet. Let's go ahead and delete it. What we need to do is add this here where I'm moving left and right. So in the water, we could hide it. Let's do that. So if no, let's let him use it in underwater, because it's maybe a little bit more realistic to not, but I think it's more fun to allow him to use it. But we do need to adjust this for left and right on both of those. So we're adjusting the animated sprite, so we also need to adjust the boomstick. But we can't flip the H because we don't have that option. So we have to do the scale. I thought we did that somewhere in here already for a different something like the pickaxe. But I'm not seeing it. Huh. Oh, here we go. Pickaxe scale X is 1. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So what I'm doing instead is up here I'm saying if has boomstick, so we don't need to do this otherwise. Then I'm going to get that animated sprite and check and see if it's flipped. And if it is, then I'm going to set the scale on the pickaxe, but instead I'm going to do the boomstick to -1, and then if it's not, then I'll set it to 1. Let's give that a try. So the nice thing about that is it'll work both in water and without. So yeah, perfect. So it switches, basically flips it one way or the other based on which direction I'm facing. So alright, so we've got the gun in the game. So one thing to note here is you notice that, let's make this bigger. You notice that the gun doesn't follow his hand. So if we'd done the paper cutout version of the player, and that's by taking those pieces, you know, where you've got a head is one sprite and the arm is another sprite and the leg's another sprite, and then you kind of glue them all together in the scene tree and then animate them using an animation node instead of a animated sprites. Then the nice thing about that is we could have attached the gun to the hand and it would have moved with the hand. But unfortunately, since we're just animating the sprite, not the button I meant to hit, since we're just animating the sprite, all we can do is kind of layer it on top. Now we could maybe make a node that we moved around and animated with it, but I think that would probably be overkill unless we were going for some really insane detail. Another thing is it kind of doesn't bob. Kind of feels a little static there. Yeah, maybe that would be worth adding. I'll leave that to you. It shouldn't be hard. All you should have to do is toggle the X and Y a little bit. And I would probably just move the position of the sprite within it there. That way you wouldn't lose your original Boomstick position. So then you could just say the X on this, the transform X on this is just one up and then one down kind of thing. Alright, so let's end the video there, and in the next video we'll go ahead and make the gun actually fire. Now I'm going to break this up into several videos, and I'm going to do a really basic projectile first. So if you're just trying to do a really simple implementation, you can follow that, and then in the video after and videos after that we'll explore some other more in-depth or different types of projectiles. So hopefully this will be even more educational, and in the end you'll have some different options that you can pick from. Alright, well thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.